name's Dave, and I'm one of the product specialists here at Ramsey Subaru. Today, during this video demonstration, we'll be taking an in-depth look at your new 2020 Subaru Ascent. During this video demonstration, we'll be going over some of the various features your new vehicle has to offer you, and a general basic setup procedure as you would with any new vehicle. Let's get started. Before we get started, keep in mind that your new Subaru will have a 1,000-mile break-in period. During these first 1,000 miles, the various engine components are getting settled from the factory. That means that you're going to want to keep the engine under 4,000 RPM, as well as allow the vehicle to see a variety of driving conditions. A little bit of city, a little bit of traffic, a little bit of back road, and a little bit of highway. You want the vehicle to experience the various driving conditions that it'll see throughout the lifetime of the car. Other than that, keep in mind, you're going to want to avoid using the cruise control for those first 1,000 miles if you can do so as well. Now, your vehicle does have an oil change interval of every 6 months or every 6,000 miles, whichever comes sooner. This vehicle will take synthetic oil and full synthetic oil only. Just keep that in mind. Other than that, I just want to say congratulations and welcome to your new Subaru. Now, before we dive into the car, I want to point out a few important things. Accessing your gas cap may be different if you've owned a Subaru in the past. On the Ascent here, how we're going to access that gas cap is by pressing on the gas cap rather than looking for a latch in the driver's compartment like you may have been used to in the past. We are simply going to unlock the vehicle using either our key fob or the unlock button on the door sill. And once the car is unlocked, we'll be able to simply press on the gas cover and the gas cap will be accessible to us from there. Again, it's going to be closed in a similar manner. Just give it a press and the gas cap will latch shut for us. A great feature about this updated gas cap here is when the car is locked, it's not accessible. So again, keep in mind you're now accessing your gas cap by pressing the unlock button either on your keys or inside the vehicle, and then simply pressing on the cap itself and then unscrewing as you normally would in the past. On Subaru models equipped with keyless access, you will find this style key fob. Now, while this key may be a little different from the standard key our Subarus might have had in the past, it's going to have the same features as well as several new additional benefits. Working our way through the buttons on the key, we'll find the lock, unlock, trunk, and panic alarm buttons in that order. Again, lock, unlock, trunk, and panic alarm buttons in that order. Flipping the key around, we're going to have access to, by pressing the silver square here, a physical key. With this physical key, we can either open or close the door or the glove box. Now again, working our way back to the front of the key, we're going to have the ability to lock, unlock, open and close the trunk, or turn on and off the panic alarm button. Now, pressing the lock button once will again issue an audible tone. Pressing it again will issue a similar tone, and a third time will give us a louder tone, just like so. The unlock button, one press will unlock the driver's door, and two presses of that button will unlock all four doors, as well as, depending on the car, possibly the hatch. The trunk button on power liftgate equipped vehicles will be about a 3-second press and hold, 1, 2, and 3, to either open, or once opened, to close the power liftgate. And then, of course, lastly, the panic alarm button here, press and hold, and the vehicle's panic alarm system will trigger. Now, one of the main benefits of this keyless access system will be the ability to enter or exit the vehicle without ever having to reach for the key fob itself. There's a sensor behind the handle, as well as on the handle, that is actually going to function just like our lock and unlock buttons do on the key fob. I'm going to lock the car for demonstration's sake, and then from there I'll demonstrate simply by sliding my hand behind the handle that the car will unlock for me. Similarly so, if I wanted to lock the car, I could simply press the 2 horizontal lines imprinted on the door handle, and the car would lock. Again, to reiterate, as long as the key fob is on your person, sliding your hand behind the handle will unlock the car for us, and placing your fingertips on the 2 horizontal lines here will lock it for us. If your Ascent comes equipped with a power liftgate, you're going to have a couple options as to how to access the trunk. We're going to have either a physical button here, located just under the Subaru logo on the hatch itself, or of course we could use the trunk button on the key fob. Now remember, that trunk button will be about a 3-second press and hold. The trunk will then open for us, and also a 3-second press and hold of the key fob can close the trunk for us. Alternatively, like I mentioned, you can simply press the button here and allow the trunk to open on its own from there. Now once you have the trunk opened, you have a couple options as to how to close it as well. We're going to have a couple buttons located here on the top of the rear hatch that I'm going to point out in more detail in just a second. Now if we take a look at the bottom of the hatch, you'll have these two buttons that I just mentioned. The one on the left has a lock, and the one on the right has an icon of your trunk opening or closing. This button here will simply close the trunk once it's already open, whereas the lock button will instead lock any of the doors that are unlocked in the car, and then after doing so, close the trunk for you. Once we're inside the trunk, we'll have access to a lot of great features. On the left here, we're going to have a little light built in so we can see what's going on at night. We can simply turn it on or off by flipping the little white switch there. We're also going to have a 12-volt power port in the vehicle. This will give us access to plugging in any accessories that we may need to, such as a compressor or anything else that you may require. Lifting the cover here will give you access to the privacy cover if your vehicle is equipped with one. That can be removed by pulling out the second flap here, and then the privacy cover itself, like so. We're going to close this and put the privacy cover here for now, and continue going over the other features that we have built into this space. Now under the covers here, we are going to have access to our spare toolkit. This will be your lug nut wrench, as well as the jack and the release here for the spare tire. Again, the jack is situated here, and our spare tools are also included in this space. Now, we can access our spare tire, of course, by removing this compartment here. Under the rubber cover, we're going to have a hex that is going to be the same size as our wheel lug nuts that we can remove spinning counterclockwise using the lug nut wrench, and then that will actually allow the tire to drop down underneath the vehicle. Alternatively, you can use this space simply as a storage space for items that you don't want rolling around in your trunk, if you so choose not to have the privacy cover in this storage area. Now our privacy cover will actually have two portions that will collapse in order to fit under the storage space. The privacy cover can be expanded by pressing the button here as you press inward, and it will release that portion. Again, press in, push down, and it will release the privacy cover as well. It can simply be pressed back and locked and latched into place like so. Again, pressed back and locked closed. That's going to make the privacy cover shorter for you, so it could actually fit under the storage space here as it was originally. Other than that, I'm going to demonstrate what the privacy cover looks like installed. It's going to be installed into the squares here and on the other side of the vehicle. Now that we have our privacy cover installed, I can simply pull and release the privacy cover, resting it in the slots that are molded into the sides of the trunk. I simply pull, and again, the privacy cover returns to its original location. Now, something to be aware of is that the third row will not be accessible when the privacy cover is installed. So again, if you are planning on using all three rows of the vehicle, the privacy cover is not something that will be usable. Removing the privacy cover is a very simple process. Just apply some sidewards pressure to the retractable portions of the privacy cover, and it will drop out like so. Now, the third row in a Subaru Ascent offers a lot of adjustability. We have a fixed strap here that's going to allow us to lift the seat upright. It's going to lock in the first position for us, and from there we're able to take the adjustment strap, pull up on it, and that's going to release the locking mechanism, allowing us to change the angle of the backrest. Once we're at an angle that we're happy with, you simply let go of the adjustment latch, and the seat is, again, locked in place. These headrests can be pulled up and locked into place for when your third row passengers are utilizing it, or released with the press of a button here on the left for, again, better visibility out the back of the car. This is, like I mentioned earlier, the adjustment strap, so if we wanted to fold the seats flat, we would pull on the adjustment strap, give the seat a push, and it will fold flat for us from there. Again, the same thing will apply to our single seat in the back here. Pull to lift. The adjustment strap will allow the backrest angle to change, and then again, we'll be able to fold it fully flush from there as well, giving us full depth access to our trunk storage space. Of course, similar to our third row, our second row has quite a lot of adjustments as well. You're going to see 3 levers on the seat here. You're going to see one here, as well as a lever here and here. Now, these 2 levers will serve the same purpose. Pulling up on either lever will allow the seat to flip and slide forward, allowing access to the third row. From there, we would simply slide back and adjust the angle of the backrest to lock it into place again as it was just before. Again, I'll demonstrate pulling up on this lever instead. The seat flips and slides forward. These are there as just options, whichever is easier for the passengers to reach at that point in time. Now, a wonderful feature you may notice here is a 1 and a 2. Pulling up on the 1 lever, stopping the seat, and then pulling up on the 2 lever allows the backrest to fold flat. This gives you full depth capacity when you're using the trunk if you so need it. Other than that, you're simply going to lift the seat back upright and it's going to lock in place again, just like as if you were sliding it from before. Now we're going to have another very nice adjustment here. A bar at the front of the seat. Pulling up on this bar will allow the seat to slide forward and backward, as well as lock into place. This allows your third row passengers to have more legroom if they so choose to, as well as the second row to have an adjustable amount of legroom. Keep in mind that the controls for the second row seats will be the same for either side of the car, as well as both the 7 and 8 seat Ascent configurations. Now, on our rear door sill, we're going to have child safety locks here. Turning these child safety locks on will be done by sliding the latch down, which will now make the inside door handle inoperable. That means any passengers that are in the back will have to be, again, let out by someone from the exterior of the vehicle. We simply turn the child safety lock back off by adjusting this latch here. You're going to have your window controls, your door handle, and door lock, as well as if your vehicle comes equipped with a sunshade, you'll be able to, again, use the sunshade like so by pulling up and then releasing it back down into its little storage compartment. Now, we're going to have quite a lot of controls available to us in our driver's door sill here. Starting from the bottom and working our way up, we're going to have our window locks. Pressing this button will lock the windows, again, on and off for the window lock there, your rear window controls and your front window controls, as well as your door locks. Unlock here and lock there, of course. You're going to have your mirror adjustment as well. You're going to twist this all the way to the left to adjust the left side view mirror, all the way to the right to adjust the right side view mirror, and in the center position, it's actually going to be locked from adjustment. Choosing a mirror to adjust, we can then press the dial left, right, up, and down to adjust the mirror accordingly. Twisting to the right mirror, we can adjust again left, right, up, and down accordingly like so, and then lock it in the center position once we've adjusted our mirrors. Now, if your vehicle does come equipped with power folding side view mirrors, you're going to have a button here. One touch of the button and the side view mirrors would fold closed for you. Also, if your vehicle comes equipped with seat presets, you're going to have 2 here. Adding a new seat preset is as simple as holding the set button and then holding whatever number you'd like to save that preset to as well. Again, you're going to start with just set, and then press and hold the number also. You're going to hear a little beep from the vehicle, and whatever position the seat is in currently will be saved to either preset 1 or preset 2. Then from there, you're simply going to touch the number and give it a press, and the seat position will adjust to whatever is saved. Now, the seat itself is going to have a nice range of adjustment as well. On the power seats, the front lever here is going to move the seat forward as well as backward. Pulling up or pushing down on the rearward portion of the lever will change the height of the seat down as well as up, like so. Pulling up or pushing down on the front of the seat is going to change the angle of the front of the seat here. Again, down and up like so. And then, of course, this lever here will adjust the backrest angle. This lever furthest towards the rear of the car is going to actually be your lumbar support adjustment, less or more lumbar support. The steering wheel itself is also adjustable. We have a release here. This release pulling down will allow the wheel to unlock from its previously locked position, and it's going to allow the wheel to slide in and out, that's the telescoping feature, and tilt up and down as well. A really great range of adjustment there. Lets you get the seat and the steering wheel adjusted to fit your needs best. And then from there, you simply take the lever here, pull up, and lock it flush with the bottom of the steering wheel column. On the lower left-hand side of your Ascent's dash, you're going to find a set of buttons. For vehicles with a power liftgate, you're going to see a trunk open-close, as well as a memory height button here and here. On all Ascents, you're going to find an on-off one-touch button for the lights throughout the car. Give that button a press and you'll see an icon on the dash, as well as the lights in the rear of the vehicle will all turn on for you. On the right here, we're going to have a dial. Turning this dial up or down will change the brightness of the dash and the radio displays. On the bottom row, we're going to find our vehicle dynamics control on-off button. Now, the vehicle dynamics control is a very basic safety feature. It's one that helps maintain traction between the tires and the road surface, and in most situations we find ourselves in, one that we'd want to have on and active. If we ever find ourselves stuck in, say, a snowy parking spot or in the mud, turning this feature off may allow some wheel spin to occur. This may actually be beneficial to helping ourselves get out of that situation, but again, we'd want to then enable the vehicle dynamics control system before carrying on with our trip. If your vehicle comes equipped with blind spot detection, you'll have a button here to turn that feature on and off. The blind spot detection will illuminate in a rectangle on either side view mirror, in orange anytime there's an object coming up from behind your car. If this feature ever becomes a distraction or a nuisance for you, you can simply give that button a quick press, and then the feature would be disabled until you give that button a press again. You'll see an icon on the dash matching the button identically, letting you know that that feature is off. And then once you turn that feature back on, you would no longer see that icon there. Lastly, in this area, we'll find the release for our hood, as well as the release for our tilting and telescopic steering wheel. Sliding our fingers under and pulling on the latch here will open the hood for us, and sliding our fingers into the release here, pulling down and releasing, will allow our steering wheel to tilt, as well as telescope in and out, like so. From there, once the wheel is adjusted comfortably, we can lock it in place. On Subaru Forester and Ascent models equipped with a power liftgate, a memory height feature will be available. This feature may be useful if the fully extended height of the liftgate is difficult to reach or if overhead clearance is an issue. Setting this custom memory height is a very simple process. It's going to involve us opening our trunk. Once the trunk is fully open, we'll be able to press inside the vehicle the memory height button. We're going to press this button in. Pressing this button in will indicate to the vehicle that we want to utilize our memory height. And from that point, we'll be able to adjust by hand manually, slowly the trunk to whatever new height we prefer. And then by pressing and holding the right trunk close button here on the hatch itself for about 3 to 5 seconds, That will now save the new height for us. Now remember, there's two buttons here on the trunk itself. The one on the left looks like a lock. We're going to be using the button that looks like our trunk opening and closing. Now anytime we open and close the trunk, it's going to open to our new custom memory height. And also, if we ever decide that we want the trunk to open fully for us, we can simply press that memory height button again. The feature will no longer be enabled, and from there, now when we open the trunk, it'll open fully for us. That means at any point in time, we can take advantage of two different heights, depending on how that memory height button is pressed. On Ascent models equipped with keyless access, you're also going to have a push-to-start button on the dash. Rather than having a standard slot for a key on the steering column, you're now going to have a push-start-stop button to the right of the wheel. Now, this button requires you to have your foot on the brake in order to start the car. Putting our foot on the brake, we see a green light on the button, allowing us to then push the button once, and just like that, our car would turn on for us. If we wanted to turn the car off, all we would do is then press the button again, and the car would turn off for us from there. Now we're going to move on to the steering wheel. The steering wheel is going to have quite a few controls built in on both the left and the right hand sides of the wheel. The left hand side is going to be mostly convenience features. It's going to be an extension of the controls that we have access to from the radio here on our right. Nice to have those hands-free features built into the car, of course. On the right-hand side, we're going to have some of our EyeSight features. These are going to include our adaptive cruise control, as well as our lane centering. I'll go into those in more detail later on. We're going to start on the left-hand side here with the left and right arrows at the top of this left portion. These left and right arrows are going to allow us to search, seek, scan, and scroll through our various radio stations and tracks, as well as switch through presets. For example, as you can see here, switching through the presets that I have previously saved for my radio. We're going to have volume adjustment here, of course. Turn the volume up or down using the toggle simply with a finger. Now, source will actually change our inputs. Let's say we had a CD in the vehicle or our phone connected via Bluetooth. I could press the source button here and it would actually switch through either the various connected devices or the radio station frequencies. Now, the voice command button here will trigger a voice command prompt in the vehicle, allowing you to not only control your audio, also if the vehicle comes equipped with navigation, you can again verbally start directions to a destination if that's something you so choose to do. Now, on the bottom portion here, we have an answer as well as a hang up button. These are going to be for our hands-free phone call features. Again, the answer button for picking up calls, the hang up button for ending a call or canceling an incoming call as well. Set behind the wheel, you're going to have up and down arrows here that you can pull towards you with your fingertips. If you look on the center screen here, you'll notice that as I pull the up arrow, it's actually going to change what I see on this display. Pulling the down arrow will actually also change what I see on the display, instead working its way backwards through the various screens available to me here. Again, we're going to have a digital speedometer, a trip timer, and a trip distance meter, our miles per gallon, as well as a distance to empty estimate, depending on the amount of fuel that we have left in the tank, average fuel economy for the particular trip. We have a trip reset button here that's going to allow us to switch between trip A and trip B, and we can actually keep track of the various fuel economies that we have for those particular trips as well. Pressing and holding the trip reset button will, of course, zero out the trip meter for us. Moving on, we're going to have a settings screen here, as well as a screen that shows tire pressure in all four wheels. And then, of course, back to our digital speedometer. Now, using the down button, I would be able to go through those same screens, those same menus, simply in the reverse order that I had just gone through them in. The center button here, with an I and a set on it, will, if there's any information the car has to display will bring that information up for you on the center display here. Alternatively, if you are on the settings screen here, pressing and holding for about 3 to 5 seconds will bring you into a more in-depth settings menu if there's anything in particular that you'd like to adjust. Other than that, we can move on to the right-hand side of the steering wheel here. Of course, a wonderful feature that we're going to have in the vehicle is going to be our heated steering wheel if equipped, on and off with one touch of the button. And then on the right and on the left, you're also going to have paddle shifters. These paddle shifters are part of our virtual manual mode that we have available in the car. That's something I'm going to discuss more in depth later on. You'll notice on the left as well as on the right, we have stalks. On the left will be our headlight stalk. Pull towards us for a flash of the high beams, push out to turn them on, up for right blinker and down for left blinker. And then of course we're going to have, by spinning the outer portion of the dial here, off if equipped auto, running lights and on, as well as the ability to turn, if equipped, our fog lights on and off using the inner portion here. The wiper stalk similarly will again turn on the wipers for one streak by pressing up, down for your intermittent adjust, slow and fast speeds. And of course, on your intermittent speed, you have an adjustment here by spinning this inner dial portion. On the outer portion of the wiper stalk are going to be your rear wiper controls. You're going to have off, intermittent, and on for the rear wiper. Pressing and holding, or rather twisting and holding forward or backward, will actually release washer fluid to the rear window. And then of course pulling the wiper stalk towards us will release washer fluid to the front window as well. That does just about wrap up the steering wheel. We're going to go over these EyeSight features in just a little bit. On the right-hand side of the steering wheel, we're going to have access to some of the controls for some of our EyeSight features. On the right here, we're going to have our lane keep assist on-off, as well as our adaptive cruise control on-off buttons. Now, if you're new to the adaptive cruise control system here at Subaru, it's going to be a wonderful update over the standard cruise control system that you may be used to from the past. Previously, with our standard cruise control system, we were only able to set a single speed for our car to maintain, and then it would maintain that speed for us until we input a brake command or pressed a cancel button. With the adaptive cruise control, we're able to set an upper speed that we want the car to not surpass, as well as a following distance that we'd like our vehicle to maintain from the car in front of us as we're traveling down the road. With these parameters, our vehicle is then actually able to fluctuate speed on our behalf, slowing down if necessary, or speeding up, but never surpassing the upper speed that we have set for our adaptive cruise control system. This means that where in the past, if we had our cruise control set to 55 and the car in front of us slowed down to say 50, we'd have to input a brake command, slow down our vehicle, and then either set a new cruise control speed or resume the previously set speed. Now we are able to have our car keep pace with the vehicle in front of us, as well as maintain a following distance that we are able to set for whatever fits our driving style and needs best. We are going to have access to this system on the right here. The top rightmost button will turn on and off the adaptive cruise control system. We'll be able to turn on the cruise control feature, and we'll know that's the case because we'll see a matching icon on the left-hand side of the screen here. It's going to match the button that we pressed on the right here identically to what you see on the display. Now from there, we have a toggle here, set and resume, set by pressing down on the toggle, resume by pressing up on the toggle. Again, we would turn on the cruise control, reach a certain speed. Once we've reached that speed, we'd be able to set the cruise control speed. And then using these two buttons here, we'd actually be able to both increase or decrease the following distance between us and the vehicle in front of us. Now that following distance is indicated here, more and less bars on the dash. Again, 1 bar will be the closest following distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and 4 bars will actually be the furthest following distance between you and the car ahead. I recommend most people start out on 4 bars, which will be the furthest distance, and once you're comfortable with the adaptive cruise control system, if it's something that's new for you, work your way down to however many bars you may prefer. Other than that, anytime that you do, of course, press the brake pedal, the adaptive cruise control system will be disabled. It will no longer be maintaining a following distance or a pace with the vehicle ahead, and again, at that point in time, you will either have to set a new speed for the car to maintain or resume the previously set speed that you have set prior. Lastly, pressing this button here will fully turn off the adaptive cruise control system. Now, one other feature that may interest some drivers, if they prefer the standard cruise control system to the adaptive cruise control system, when the cruise control is on, pressing and holding either the down or the up button here will actually revert the cruise control system to standard cruise control rather than adaptive. Another 3 to 5 second press and hold will revert it back to the adaptive cruise control system that we had active previously. I'm going to turn it off for now, and we're going to move on to another feature here on the steering wheel. Now, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here, we're going to have our lane keep assist feature. This will be a simple on and off feature. We'll know it's on when we see the matching icon on the dash on the right-hand side here. Again, the icon will match the button that we pressed identically. I like to mention this feature with another feature that we have situated on the roof on the right here. I'm going to point out this feature in just a moment, but I'll discuss it with you now. We have our lane keep assist as well as our lane departure features in the vehicle. The lane departure warning is an audio-visual alert. It's a passive warning, giving you a light on the dash as well as a beep from the speakers. Again, an audio-visual alert letting you know that you're leaving your lane, and from there, what you do with this information is up to you. The lane keep assist, on the other hand, will actively help keep our vehicle centered in the lane if we're swaying left or right. Again, you may feel a little nudge, a vibration, a motion in the wheel, and the car will help correctively guide you back to the center of your lane if you're swaying to the left or to the right in it. Now, keep in mind, it's not a self-driving car. At no point in time do we take our hands off the wheel when these features are active. They work with us, not for us. Again, these are all great tools and assists that help improve our day-to-day driving experience, not do the driving for us. Aside from that, we're going to move on to the lane departure warning, and we're going to find the on-off buttons for that feature on the ceiling of our car. Moving on from the steering wheel, on the roof of the car, you're going to find some extended EyeSight controls. On the left here, we are going to have our lane departure warning, and on the right, we are going to have our pre-collision brake assist. Now, the lane departure warning, here on the left again, is going to be an audio-visual alert. It's going to be a passive warning where the car issues a beep from the speakers and a light on the dash, giving you a warning that you're leaving your lane or swaying within it. And then from there, it is your decision to make the correction. Again, keep in mind the lane keep assist, on the other hand, if active, can input that little nudge, the vibration, the motion in the wheel, and help correctively guide you back to the center of your lane. Remember, with both of these features, as long as we're using our blinkers properly, they're not going to interfere with our day-to-day driving. Again, the car will know that we mean to make a lane change or cross over a lane, and neither of these features will alert. Now, here on the right, we have our pre-collision brake assist. This is a feature where the car is able to apply the brakes either for us or with us. That means that the car is actually able to apply more brake pressure than we are on our behalf. So if we're approaching an obstacle or an object at too great of a speed and already slowing down, but not applying enough brake pressure, this feature can apply even more brake pressure than we already are. Alternatively, if we're distracted, drowsy, or something unexpected pops up in front of us, this feature can apply up to 100% of the brakes on its own in an attempt to slow us down as much as possible or bring us to a stop if possible to do so. Again, both the lane departure warning and the pre-collision brake assist are a 3-second press and hold of the button. To turn off the lane departure warning, I would press and hold for 3 seconds, hear a beep, and see a matching light on the dash indicating that that feature is disabled. Similarly so, I would press and hold the pre-collision brake assist to turn that feature off as well, hearing a beep to indicate that it's off. Turning it back on is as simple as pressing and holding for about 3 seconds, hearing a beep, and no longer seeing a light on the dash will indicate that the feature is back on for you. I'm going to do the same for the lane departure warning, and we're going to hear a beep and we'll no longer see a light on the dash indicating so. Now, a very important thing to keep in mind is the pre-collision brake assist here is a feature that we're going to be turning off in an automatic car wash. That's something that Subaru recommends doing. So anytime you're taking the vehicle through an automatic car wash, I'm going to recommend pressing and holding that button for about 3 seconds till you see an orange light on the dash matching the button, and then that will indicate to you that the feature is disabled and it's safe to go through that car wash. Once you're out, you can simply turn the feature right back on again with another 3-second press and hold. Now, on the left-hand side here, we are going to have a red and a blue button. These are going to be our Starlink, Enhanced Roadside Assistance, and SOS Emergency Assistance buttons. The red button on the left here, it's going to have SOS on it. If we were to press that button in case of an emergency, it would reach out to a Starlink customer care advisor, and from there, help would be on the way. Again, that's there for an emergency if you need fire, police, or ambulance, something along those lines. The blue I button, on the other hand, is going to be Enhanced Roadside Assistance. So if you ever do find yourself in a situation where help is needed, but it might not necessarily be an emergency situation, press the blue button. Again, a representative will reach out, and whatever help is required will be sent on its way. Again, that's there if you have a flat tire, a dead battery, you ran out of gas, you need a tow, you're stuck on the side of the road, the blue button is there to help. Differentiate between the two, the red, of course, for emergency situations. And to wrap up the buttons that we have located here on the roof of our car, on the right, we're going to have a slide switch. 2 positions. On the right, it's going to have these overhead lights set to off. When we have the switch slid to the left, it's going to, again, turn the lights on for us when we open the door. Great for seeing what's going on in the vehicle at night. I tend to leave this switch in the door position. You can also, of course, turn on your lights by simply pressing on them on and off, one touch, just like so. Super easy to access. Now, if your vehicle does come equipped with a sunroof, you're going to have 2 more switches here. The one on the right is going to be for our sunshade. If we pull this switch towards the rear of the vehicle, it's going to open the sunshade for us. Pushing the switch towards the front of the vehicle is going to close that sunshade for us as well. Alternatively, if we'd like to open the sunroof, we could do so by pushing the switch on the left here towards the back of the car, and that's going to open the sunroof for us and pull the sunshade back. Closing is done by pushing forward on that button there. Now, a great feature about our Ascent here is that we can actually have the back of the sunroof tilted open to have some airflow in the vehicle without necessarily having the moonroof itself opened. This can be done by pressing up on the slide switch, and that's going to lift the rear of the moonroof open for you, but not open it fully. Again, it can be closed by pressing forward here, and that's going to close the moonroof for us fully. Other than that, I'm going to close the sunshade, and that's going to complete the upper portion here. For those new to the EyeSight safety system that is offered in our Subaru vehicles, these are the EyeSight cameras, one on the left and one on the right. These cameras are the backbone of our EyeSight safety system, taking in information from the road in front of us and helping us make decisions with that information. Now, these cameras, just like our eyes, hence the namesake EyeSight, if we can't see, they can't see. That means if their vision is impeded or obscured, heavy snow, heavy rain, mist, fog, physical dirt, mud, rock salt, very common in the winter season, for example. If the cameras cannot see the road ahead clearly, you may see on your dash a message that indicates no EyeSight or EyeSight disabled. If that's the case, I want you to know it's functioning as it should. I'm sure you'll agree, rather than making inaccurate safety decisions, we'd rather disable the systems till accurate ones can be made again. That means if you ever do see that message appear on your dash, there's no need to pull over. Just be aware of what's going on. Simply clean off the windshield using your wipers. If you have some severely caked on mud, maybe a squeegee from a gas station might be necessary. Or if it's weather that's causing the message to appear, simply wait for the weather to shift, and again, that message will resolve itself. Keep in mind, these features will be disabled until the message is resolved, but again, the car will function as it normally would, simply without the EyeSight features. Now, these cameras can, of course, have their vision obscured from inside the vehicle as well. In order to ensure that we don't do so with an easy pass or something along those lines, what I like to do is I'm actually going to take my hands and I'm going to draw two vertical lines from either edge of the camera straight down the windshield. Again, two vertical lines from either edge of the cameras down the windshield, and that's going to divide the windshield into 1, 2, and then 3 portions for us. The 3 virtual portions that we've just created, you're going to want to avoid objects in the center area here. So again, 2 vertical lines from either edge of the camera, straight down the windshield, dividing it into 1, 2, and 3 portions. You're going to want to avoid objects in the middle here. That means that your easy pass will go to the left or to the right of the cameras. I recommend mounting it here in order to not block your visibility here as a driver, but again, either to the left or to the right of the cameras should suffice. On Ascent models equipped with a full color upper display, we're going to be able to control the various screens that we have access to using the up and down arrows here on the left. Now currently we're looking at the safety screen. This is showing us all the various safety features that we have active or can have active in the vehicle if we so choose to. Working our way through those screens, we're going to have a more technical oriented display showing us where the power is being sent through our symmetrical all-wheel drive system, as well as an angle of an ascent and descent of the vehicle. We're going to have some more information about the car, such as average speed for the trip, instantaneous miles per gallon, and a percentage of how hard we're pressing the accelerator pedal. We're also going to have access to some weather. If the vehicle is equipped with navigation, that information can appear up here for you as well. We're going to have access to whatever media we may have currently playing on this upper screen, rather than using the radio display if that's something that you so choose to prefer. Some more information about the car, distance to empty, average miles per gallon for the trip, and instantaneous miles per gallon. Lastly, we're going to have a clock and date available to us. And of course, a settings screen, if you so choose to adjust any more in-depth settings, can be accessed from here with about a 3-second press and hold of the center button here. Now, if your vehicle is equipped with a front view monitor, you can simply press this button in the center and you will have a almost 180-degree angle of what is in front of your car. This is great for pulling out of tight spots or any situation where a camera on the front of the vehicle may be useful. Now we're going to discuss the tri-zone climate control system that we have here in our Subaru Ascent. The tri-zone climate control system breaks the car up into 3 various zones. Those, of course, being the driver's area, the front passenger's area, and the third rear passenger zone. These 3 zones can all be controlled from the front of the vehicle, as well as the third zone will have their own controls in the back of the vehicle that we're going to discuss once we've covered these controls here. Now, we're going to start by pressing the on-off button here, and that will turn on our climate control system as a whole. From there, we're going to have access to, on the left and on the right, a dial to adjust the driver's temperature, or to adjust the passenger's temperature. We can, of course, sync both sides by pressing this button here. It's going to then match the passenger side to the driver's side, and as I adjust the driver's temperature, you'll notice that the passenger temperature adjusts as well. This makes it function as a single zone if there's only the driver in the vehicle, or if you'd like to just have one temperature throughout the car. We, in the middle, have the ability to adjust the fan speed up or down, or by pressing that center dial, the ability to adjust the mode or airflow location of in the vehicle as well. Apart from that, on the right, we're going to have a max AC button, which is going to work to cool the car as fast as possible and as short as possible of a time. And another very convenient feature about this button here is you'll notice we currently have 2 different temperatures. If we press max AC, it's going to put us on max low. It's going to make the fans as high as possible, and it's going to route the air to the upper vents. Pressing max AC again will revert all of our features back to where we had them before we pressed this max AC button here. Really nice one touch to get the car as cool as possible, and one touch again to go back to your previously selected temperature options. We also on the left, of course, have a auto button. You'll notice on the screen, once we press this button, full auto appears. Full auto allows us to, for simplicity's sake, I will sync both sides, allows us to adjust the temperature, and from there the car will adjust the fan speed as well as the airflow location accordingly. You'll notice the only thing I touch is the temperature, and then the car adjusts everything else as it sees fit. This is nice for those longer road trips. You can think of it as a set it and forget it feature. You set the temperature and the car adjusts as necessary to reach and then maintain that temperature on your behalf. Moving on, we are going to have on the lower row here a set of buttons. Starting at the left and working our way to the right, if your vehicle comes equipped with ventilated seats, you're going to have the ability to turn those on here and here. You'll see those designated in blue. You can press them up to 2 more times to switch between medium and low, or another time to fully turn off the ventilated seats. Again, high indicated by 3 blue bars, medium by 2, low by 1, and off indicated by no bars at all. Similarly so, we have the heated seats. Again, the ventilated seats indicated by the little fan icon, and the heated seats indicated by the heat rising from the seat bottom. We also, just like with the ventilated seats on the driver and passenger side, have 3 heat settings which we can cycle through by pressing the buttons repeatedly, just like so, nice and easy, or turn them off if you no longer see the lights there. In the middle here, we're going to have our circulation button, on and off. You'll know it's on when you see a green light and off when you don't, as well as, again, the AC on and off buttons here as well. Just do keep in mind, if you're using the full auto mode, the AC will most likely be indicated as on for you. Just something to be aware of. Front and rear defrosters are going to be available to you here. One touch to turn on the front defroster. You'll know it's on when you see it indicated visually here, as well as with the orange icon there. Or we could turn on our rear defroster. Now, in vehicles equipped with heated side view mirrors and heated windshield wiper blades, this one button will turn on all 3 of those features. So again, in all vehicles, it will turn on the rear defroster. In vehicles equipped with heated side view mirrors and heated wiper blades. It will turn on all 3 functions with just one key press there. Now, of course, that does just about cover our climate control system, but I haven't mentioned that third zone yet. The third zone is a very simple set of controls. It's going to be just these 2 buttons here on the right, and then the initial 3 dials that we used for our first 2 zone adjustments are going to be used again for that third zone that we have available in the car. So we can turn on the third zone by pressing either the on-off button here if it's off, or the rear control button as well. We have options. Either will turn on the rear zone like so. Just do keep in mind, only the rear on-off button will turn the rear zone off, whereas the rear control button can turn it on for you if you so choose to. Clicking rear control, you'll see a set of brackets appear. These brackets indicate that you are now adjusting the rear zone. Like I mentioned earlier, you're simply going to use the same 2 dials for temperature and the same dial for airflow, location, and speed. Again, changing the location by pressing the mode button, changing the fan speed by adjusting the dial here. So we'll press rear control, and you'll notice I'm able to adjust that rear zone using either the dial on the right or the dial on the left, and I'm able to adjust the fan speed using the dial in the middle, and adjust the airflow location using the button located in the center of that middle dial. Now, what's really nice about this feature is that it gives us access to our true tri-zone climate controls. Of course, pressing rear control here again removes the brackets, and now you'll see we have 1, 2, and 3 various climate temperatures throughout the vehicle, making sure that everyone is comfortable in the car. Now, a very important feature that we're going to have built into this vehicle, you may notice a little lock icon on the rear control button. If I press and hold rear control for about 3 to 5 seconds, a little lock icon appears here as well. This now locks out the rear climate controls, allowing only the adjustment from the front of the car to control that rear zone. Alternatively, another 3 to 5 second press and hold will unlock the rear zone, allowing any passengers that may be in the back of the vehicle to adjust their fan speed, airflow location, and temperature as they see fit and so desire. Other than that, that does just about wrap up the climate control system here in our vehicle. We're going to jump onto the second row in the car to cover the controls that our back passengers have access to. Now, for that third climate control zone, we are going to have a second set of controls for the passengers in the second and third row to take advantage of. On the right-hand side here, we are going to have our fan speed, and on the left, we're going to have our temperature adjustments. On the bottom, if equipped in your vehicle, you're going to have heated seats on and off for the rear 2 seats on the left and right sides in the second row. These are going to have 2 options as far as the temperature settings go, high and low, and then off, of course, for both sides. On the left, you're going to have an on-off button, and in the center, you're going to have your mode or airflow location button, and on the right, you're going to have access to a full auto mode as well. So we're going to be able to turn on the climate control system here, adjust the temperature up or down on the left here, press the mode button to change our airflow location like so, and then adjust the fan speed up or down on the right, as well as set the temperature adjustment for the rear third zone to full auto. Now keep in mind, again, these controls will not be accessible if the third climate control zone is locked out at the front of the car. Now we're going to have a few more features available to us here next to our cup holders and gear selector. We're going to shift through the gears by pressing on the gear selector knob, putting our foot on the brake, and then shifting from park to reverse to neutral and down to drive. If I wanted to access the manual mode that is available in some Subaru vehicles, if there's an M next to the D here, I'd be able to move the shifter over, and then I would be in the M for manual mode. I would then be able to utilize the paddle shifters that are on the wheel, a plus on the right-hand side of the wheel and a minus on the left-hand side of the wheel. to shift through the gears that the transmission has to offer. Alternatively, I could simply leave the car in D for drive, and then the car will take care of shifting through the gears for me. Putting it back to neutral, reverse, and then park like so. I can take my foot off the brake, and of course our car will not move. Now we have an electronic parking brake in this car. That may be new to some. It's going to function similarly to the pull handle that most are familiar with. The pull handle parking brake, we would pull up to engage, we would then press a button and push down to release. You can think of this in a similar manner. We are going to be pulling up to engage, just as we would with a pull handle. And then now we're simply going to be putting our foot on the brake pedal and pushing down to release, again, as we would down to release with the pull handle. Pull up to engage, and with your foot on the brake, down to disengage. Again, you'll know that the parking brake is engaged with a red light on the lever here, and you would see it on the dash as well. On the front of the gear selector here, we are going to have our X mode and AVH features. X mode is a feature that is going to give us extra torque, extra power, and extra traction at the cost of speed. This is a feature that's good to use for heavy snow, heavy rain, minor off-roading, dirt, mud, and so forth. Anytime you see yourself going 20 miles per hour or less because of the weather or the environment, it's a great feature to utilize and take advantage of. Surpassing that 20 mile per hour speed will automatically disable the feature for us. Again, once you drop below that speed, you can simply re-enable the feature again by giving the button a quick press. And you can simply turn the feature off if you'd so choose to at any time with another press of the button. Now, AVH is going to be an automatic vehicle hold. It's going to be a hill hold assist, and it's going to help prevent rollbacks. With this feature coming to a stop with your foot on the brake, the car will be able to help you maintain brake pressure in an effort to prevent rollbacks. Again, with the AVH, keep in mind this is a feature that is going to assist us facing up a hill or on flat ground, not something we're ever going to use when facing downhill. This feature will be a simple on or off. One touch, you would see a green icon on your dash indicating that it's on. When you don't see that green icon, it would indicate to you that the feature is off. Again, you'd be able to come to a stop with your foot on the brake. At that point, the car would apply and maintain brake pressure as well, allowing you to take your foot off the brake pedal, rest, and once you're ready to go, apply the gas. That would release the brakes, and you'd be able to, again, take off to your next destination. To the right of the AVH feature, we have our auxiliary, as well as our two USBs, again, mounted in front of the cup holders. These are going to be the USBs that you would plug either your Android or Apple device into to take advantage of the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay feature available to you in the radio display and throughout the vehicle. Located above the X mode and AVH buttons, you're going to have another 12-volt power port in the car so that you can plug in any 12-volt devices that you may need to. Now, anytime we shift the vehicle into reverse, we're going to see on our upper radio display our backup camera. Now, this backup camera is going to have red, yellow, as well as green lines to indicate distance for us. The red lines will, of course, be the closest distance, the yellow will be further, and the green will be further still. At the bottom of the radio display here, you can actually see on this particular model, we have chrome trim on the bumper. On our Subarus, you'll be able to see the back bumper at the bottom of your rear view camera here in order to give you a physical reference of how close or far you are from an object, rather than relying solely on the red, the yellow, or the green lines alone. Again, in most instances, stopping at the red lines here will be, again, a safe distance, but the physical reference at the bottom of the screen here lets you make that final decision yourself. On vehicles equipped with the reverse automatic braking and the audio-visual sonar and rear cross traffic alert, we are going to be able to turn these features on or off as we see fit or necessary. For either of these features, it's going to be a 1, 2, and 3 second press and hold. And now you will see, rather than saying on, the icon will say off for us. Same goes for the reverse automatic braking here, a 3 second press and hold, and the feature will be turned off. Again, for either of these features, another 3 second press and hold will turn them back on if you so choose to. Now, the audio-visual sonar on the right here is going to display on the screen colored squares or rectangles to visually indicate how close or far we are from an object. And then it's also going to give us an audible warning through the speakers of the car if we're getting too close. It's going to be a tone that's going to increase in frequency as well as volume if that's something that your vehicle is equipped with. Now, the reverse automatic braking can, when in reverse, actually help us by applying brake pressure. This can stop our car if we're approaching an obstacle or an object at too great of a speed in reverse. Again, a great feature. Nice to have a second set of eyes looking out for us there. Keep in mind the reverse automatic braking might be necessary to turn off if you are parallel parking the vehicle or just trying to get a little closer than the car may let you. If you notice that the reverse automatic braking is engaging before you're able to get close enough to the object that you are in front of, you can simply again press and hold for 3 seconds the reverse automatic braking feature till it's turned off for you, and then you'll be able to get as close as you would like to that object. Keep in mind, you'll see on the screen here as well as on the dash that the feature is off for you. Other than that, a wonderful feature that's going to be on all of our Subarus are the predictive course lines. If I was to take my hands and spin the wheel, you would see on the display orange lines here on the left and on the right. They're going to be curving for us as we turn the wheel. And these are actually going to show us the direction of travel that the car will have as we're driving in reverse. These are really useful in order to help lining up a parking spot or pulling into a driveway backwards. Aside from that, anytime we shift the car into park and then back into reverse, both of these features will turn themselves back on if they were disabled previously. Keep in mind that your new Subaru will have a 1,000-mile braking period. During these first 1,000 miles, you want to keep the engine under 4,000 RPM and allow the vehicle to see a variety of driving conditions as it would throughout its lifetime. You'll also want to avoid using the cruise control feature if you can do so. And keep in mind that your new Subaru has an oil change interval of either every 6 months or every 6,000 miles, whichever comes sooner, with full synthetic oil only. I hope that video was helpful. If you have any additional questions or concerns regarding anything in your vehicle, reach out to your salesperson. From there, they'll let me know and I'll get in touch via whatever means of communication works best for you. Whether that be phone, email, or text messaging, we're here to help at Ramsey Subaru and want to ensure that each and every one of our customers has an extraordinary shopping experience.